Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. I've fallen behind a little bit on my videos, but that's okay. I'll catch up. I always do. Want to talk a little bit about the comedy show I got to go to. I know I'd mentioned it that I was going to it, and now I got to finally go to it. It was Thursday night, Saturday morning, just so you know, December 4th. And so on the 2nd, I got to go downtown to the Paramount Theater, which is an amazing venue, and see Mike Birbiglia. Now, I've mentioned him in the past. He's one of my favorite comedians. A lot of people haven't heard of him, but the dude, he's writing on a level that most comedians don't write on, and you can tell it's written. You know, it's one of those things where he's very good at talking, but you can tell this is written out. You can tell by the layering of the jokes, the layering of the stories, that it's written out. It's almost like a one man play. It was really how it comes out, and I think he did do a one man play. I know he's done movies and comedy specials, and he's done Broadway stuff. So the dude is very prolific. He's about 10 years younger than me. I think he was born in 77, so he's 44 years old, right around there. And he kind of has that feel to him, the Gen X feel that I like. It feels like kind of, they're not really, this isn't really true. And I'm trying to get out of that generational stuff. Like, well, he was part of that last generation that didn't wear helmets. We went outside all the time and we were edgier and tougher and all that. Well, I don't necessarily buy that, especially going to the school I go to. There are plenty of kids that don't wear helmets and are outside all the time. So I think it just depends where you lived. Things are slightly different. There are different hallmarks for every generation as far as entertainment, especially. But I just don't buy that. So anyway, getting a little off topic, but Birbiglia does talk a lot about those things, or at least he did in his earlier specials, about being a kid in Massachusetts and the stuff he's had to deal with. And he's dealt with a lot. I mean, he had cancer, he had bladder cancer when he was 20. Got lucky, got it removed quickly. And he just got done dealing with reversing, actually, he claims, type 2 diabetes. And so he'll take a topic like that and just start talking about every detail and making it hilarious the whole way. About, like, he said, well, his doctor said, well, then you got to do more cardio and change your diet. And he's like, well, okay, yeah, I don't really do cardio. Like, well, you need to. He's like, you need to do cardio 5 times a week. He's like, Usain Bolt doesn't do cardio 5 times a week. Top athletes in the whole world don't do. They have, and he does like these conversations with him and his doctor, and then he does a callback to it later. So it's real. It's just good stuff. And so it ended up he took up swimming. He went into detail a lot about the swimming pool at the YMCA and how disgusting it is, and the people there, and the beauty of the way he writes is he'll bring this stuff up in the beginning of the special, and then he'll hit upon it later. You know, he'll do callbacks throughout the special. He went about 75 minutes, which is a good, to me, is almost a perfect length for one guy to do a show. He had an opener. I forgot her name. Asian woman. She's probably around 40 as well. Pretty funny. Talked a lot about her husband and just being Asian and being stereotyped and just the normal couples humor stuff. And she was good, but sorry, gross. But she wasn't on the, no one, very few people on the level of Mike Birbiglia, so there's a reason he can sell out the Paramount. And, he made a lot of jokes about how we bought these tickets nearly 2 years ago. And he talked about that. He's like, thanks for waiting 2 years ago. Good to think I'm worth it. It was originally, we were supposed to see him last summer, obviously during, excuse me, during the pandemic. We bought tickets. We did buy tickets, I think, in January, February for a June show, and now that was of 2020, and now here we are in December, finally seeing them, December 2021. So a good show. I wanted to talk about some other things surrounding the show that to me were kind of funny and weird and serendipitous. So Logan has really had a lot of issues this past week with depression, especially when it comes to climate change and how the powers that be in this world don't really seem to care about it very much, or at least aren't caring about it in a serious or fast enough manner to actually have an effect by the time it starts killing us, which it actually already is. And he gets depressed. He doesn't want to go out. I don't blame him. He takes probably this pandemic more seriously than almost anybody. He wears his mask everywhere. He tries to do hand sanitizer all the time. He stays in, and when we go out, he's very safe, and it's hard for him to watch other people not give a shit, especially fellow students like high school. Talk about people don't give a shit. High school students all wear their masks around here. It's really ridiculous. So a little frustrating. We actually watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia last night, and it was one of the new episodes, and they actually did the whole first episode is all about how they spent the pandemic, kind of. And Danny DeVito goes into a liquor store, or no, not a porn shop. He goes to a porn shop with a mask around here, and there's a guy behind the counter also with a mask around here. He goes, dude, you gotta wear a mask. He's like, I have a mask. He goes, oh, okay, you're good. Rather than saying, no, it doesn't do any good unless you pull it over your face and your nose. I've given up with the kids at our school because you're either going to get an attitude or they're just not going to do it, which is pretty much a microcosm of how this country has decided to deal with this pandemic. Be that as it may. Sorry, that's a long tangent on that, but it did have something to do with the Birbiglia show. So Logan decided I'm not going to go, and it hurt because I know how much he likes him, and I really wanted him to go. But luckily, another Mike Davis, my co-host on the hockey podcast that I do called Top Cookies, little plug there. But he wanted to go, luckily. So I brought him, and we get there, and I had paper tickets because they sent us these paper tickets. Gosh, good. Probably 6 months ago, maybe more, around the beginning of the year. I've had them a long time. When I saw it was like December. It's like because I got them back like last spring, and so I've been sitting on my counter waiting and waiting and waiting, and so I go and we go into paper tickets, and since I don't have electronic tickets, I didn't get the warning that they apparently sent out. We were supposed to have our Vax cards and identification, which I'm old school. If I have a paper ticket, I think that's fine. That should get me in the door, right? And of course, I brought my mask because I figured numbers are getting worse. A lot of places that have more than a few people in them, and frankly, every place, honestly, any public place, in my opinion, you should wear a mask. Let's just be smart about this. Maybe we can beat it this time. Probably not, but anyway. So we get there, and this guy, real guy, he would have done well in 1930s Germany. I'll just put it that way. He just liked yelling at the line, and he goes, "You gotta do this and have your masks." And he did this too. He had his mask around his face, and he's screaming at people, spraying who knows what into the air to keep their masks on. I was like, "This is hilarious. This is the best. This is the best show. He's a better opener than the lady that's gonna open for Birbiglia. This guy's hilarious." So. I didn't have my Vax card with me. Luckily, I had it on my phone, a picture of it that I had to share with some other people at school and such. And I had my ID. Mike had his ID, and he was desperately looking everywhere he thought he could get a copy of it because it's online somewhere, but he couldn't find it. So what I ended up doing is sending him my Vax card, and the people, except for the guy that was super intense, I called him Mr. Intensity. He's like, this guy takes his job way too seriously. But there are a lot of other people because it's a couple thousand seat venue, so there are people like just looking, see your ID, look at you, check your Vax card on your phone, go, yeah, that's a Vax card. That was about it. And so Mike and I both got through on my Vax card. We're both vaccinated, didn't really do anything wrong in a moral sense, but otherwise, he wasn't getting in. I sure didn't want to go alone. So, there was a lot around this show. Most people were pretty good about wearing their masks in the show, although a lot of people, and it was interesting to hear like an entire crowd of 2,000 people muffle laugh because they had masks on, but it was still loud. So I know he was killing it. Mike Birbiglia was killing it because it was still loud, even though 90% of the people had their masks on and 100% of the people were laughing, except for the lady next to me. She was weird, but who cares about her? Anyway, so we also got drinks. So that's kind of weird too, that you're pulling up your mask, drinking, putting it back on. Some people took the masks more seriously than others, just like this whole thing. Anyway, didn't want to make it all about the mask, but Birbiglia was awesome. I think, like I mentioned before, see him if you can. I think he has several specials on Netflix. Several specials on Netflix. Sorry, I'm going to slap myself if I don't learn to talk. But my favorite is called Thank God for Jokes. So if you haven't seen Mike Birbiglia, watch Thank God for Jokes. It's a really good special. I think it's the best of all of them. And get to know the guy because he's hilarious. He's an amazing writer, and he did not disappoint Thursday night. Thanks, guys. I know I went all over the place like I do. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time, and Hopefully, get some of these out this weekend. All right, bye.